So for our acrylic techniques, we're going to start with this one. It is the dry brushing one, and you're going to try it with two different brushes. You're not going to put any water on your brush, and you're not going to put any water on that, and you're going to take just a little bit of paint, very little, and then you're going to like just brush it on to get the texture. I should have probably used a different color. So try it with a round brush, and then also try it with a flat brush to see the difference.
Would this be considered round?
That's a good question. The round brushes, this part right here is round, it rolls. The flat brushes look more like square, like that. So they're pinched here, so it's flat. These are flat, and that's
like
round.
This is round?
Yes. So a round brush, this part is round, they roll. And this is, when you're dry brushing, you shouldn't see any thickness of your paint. You just, you're going to see the texture of the canvas come through where there's very little paint on your brush and absolutely no water. That's why it's called dry brushing. So try that with some of the different round brushes you have and some of the flat brushes. And then if you want to clean your brush, it's fine. What I like to do to clean the brush is always kind of dab it on the bottom of the cup and then dry it off. You can try all the colors if you want. I'm going to dry brush with a flat brush, a smaller one. So you don't want to load the brush, you just want a very little amount of paint on your paintbrush. You can see it. And just make some different marks. And you should be able to see your canvas coming through. Just kind of explore the different marks that your brushes can make.
They're very loud.
So you should have very little paint on your brush where the canvas comes through. It shouldn't be thick where it looks like shiny and smooth. It should have a rough texture to it because it's called dry brushing. And this is a good way to achieve textures. For example, if you're doing a landscape and you need kind of a rough texture, this is a good way to get that. And you could try filling areas in with the dry brush. You could try different marks with the different paint brushes to see what you can get. And you can allow the colors to mix together when you're doing this. Round brush here, my round brush. If you find you've overloaded your paintbrush and it's not working for the dry brush technique, you can just take some paint off into your paper towel and then try painting.
But the ones that are articulated. So.
For this next one, we will be doing stippling, and for the stipple, because stippling means making little dots, so you're going to make little dots with the round brush because it's better to make little dots that way. And you use the end of the brush and then And when you're painting, the other thing I want to teach you, notice where I'm holding the brush at the end like this, right? You don't hold a paintbrush on the metal part. You know, that's called like choking the brush. You don't want to choke the brush. You want to hold it at the end. It just gives you, I don't know, better practice on the mark making. So yeah, so what you're doing is stippling is making little dots, and we're going to mix the colors too. The dots are not going to be perfect. And you can try the stipples. You can make them different sizes. So you can get a bigger brush and a smaller brush to see. And the other part of stippling is layering the colors to get new colors. So here I'm going to layer some of blue dots into the red ones. And far away it'll read as a different color. It won't read as like dots. Really, I should have called this technique pointillism instead. Stippling is usually more when you do it with a pen and just black and white. But I think the movement, the art style is called pointillism. The technique is called stippling. So here I'm kind of getting a brownish color because this shade of red and this particular shade of blue don't really make a violet.
Yeah.
You'd have to do magenta and cyan. And do you all like the tables? Because I have little easels, little tabletop easels, if you wanted to put your canvases up on easels, let me know.
I don't know if you had those. Did you have those last year?
Yeah, we usually use them for art shows, and usually we paint on paper, so I don't have really students use it because it's hard to put a paper on there without like a board that you're clipping it onto.
So I'm assuming that our first project is gonna like involve these techniques.
Yes, you're exactly right. It's fun. There's so much you can do with acrylic paints. Like literally, there's probably like 20 more I can teach you.
Let's make another. Let's pull out another canvas.
Yeah. So this can be done not only with colors but with values to like create a gradation. It makes a texture. I want to put yellow up here to make orange. And the reason we're using primaries for this is sometimes limited choices just helps, and I wanted us to focus on the techniques and then just to remember about color mixing too, so you can see what the colors do. You want to fill it in until you could still tell that it's dots, that it's stipples, but it's pretty much filled in and layered with different colors layered together.
Mine kind of made like a grayish color with the red and the blue, but it looks kind of.
It's very brown.
Yeah, but if you mix two opposites, it'll make brown. And also, if this particular shade, this is fire red, which is a warm red.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming.
And it's, yeah, and if you mix a warm red with this blue, which I believe it's an ultramarine, then it'll end up looking more brownish, where to get a violet, you'd really want magenta and cyan. For physical pigments, those are the primaries, is magenta, cyan, and yellow. Andrew, everything all right?